back, everyone. So what I want to try and do this lesson is I just want to give you an overview about what I want to build. And there's, as you can see right here, there's a lot to do. Now, I'm going to try and split this up into different small sub-series where we can kind of see the different areas, right? And you'll notice right here, Firebase is kind of a key thing right here. That's my backend, and that's what everything communicates to kind of make this work. Now, first of all, let's have a look at the first line, the purple line right here, which goes to Angular and Firebase. Now, what I tried to show you guys is we're going to end up with an Angular app, a front-end app like I talked about last lesson, that can kind of read data and write data to Firebase. That's the goal. So the idea with the Angular app is that we can send a request to log in with authentication. We can send a request to read some data and keep listening, actually using kind of a socket, so we can keep getting real-time data from Firestore or Firebase whenever something changes. And the last thing I want to use it for is also to kind of store images, so we can also work with images. And Angular can of course also write data right here and change the data in Firebase if I want to, so that we can get new data in Firestore, new images for our profiles that's logged in and stuff like that, add bookings, whatever we want to do later on. So that's kind of the communication that we have between Angular and Firebase. Notice Angular doesn't know anything about the Oculus or the Pi when we get to that point, because again, the heart of my application is going to be Firebase, which is going to be the backend that communicates to the other devices. So any change of data will be through Firebase, and then the other devices or whatever I want to kind of plug into this will be listening. I'll be changing the data. So that was the Angular part. So we're going to build a web app that can take care of this right here. And actually, I want to add something right here. Let me just add a database right here just to show you, because I'm actually going to, as we move forward, let's just take this one just to keep a different image. As we move forward, I'm going to have some local data right here as well that we can use with state management to kind of get information that's stored locally in this part of the application. So we don't have to go and get the data again and again. We can make some magic happen right here with state management. We'll get back to that, but that's kind of the way that we will communicate between Angular and Firebase. Okay, so that's going to be the first series where we start out with creating some Firebase stuff. Maybe I'll switch to a second series to work with Angular, but I think they'll kind of be joined for an entire series. The second part that I want to jump into is going to be the quest. So I'm going to read some data from Firebase and I'm going to send it all the way down to the quest. So the quest is going to be hooked up to Firebase, but it's only going to read data. In the beginning, at least, I'm not going to write any data to Firebase from the quest. I just want to use this as a way to, in the quest, actually see or visualize the data that's stored in Firebase. Okay, so that's going to be just a representation of the data somehow, maybe a list of the customers, maybe, I don't know, we'll figure it out, something fun, right? So that'll be kind of a read-only for the quest. The last one is going to be the Pi. So the Raspberry Pi is going to be give me the possibility to both send data, right? It's going to send data to Firebase so it can change and store information. Like I talked about last lesson, maybe I want a button that I can click. As soon as I click that button, I'll actually send some information here that this customer is now completed, and we'll register how much time I used on that customer just by kind of having a timestamp or something like that. Another thing it'll do is it'll actually physically start a lamp right here, some kind of light saying that I'm now ready to get the next patient. And I'm actually also going to store that, because then other pies, so if I want to later on, I could add multiple pies right here, and each pie could kind of listen. And maybe this pie, let's see if we have a lamp right here or light. Yeah, we have something right here. Let's just put this right here, because this guy could then kind of glow up like blink on another pie, because that listens up here to Firebase as well, right? So that's kind of the goal right here. And again, I'll dive more into all of this as we keep moving, but I just wanted to give you guys a small overview about how it'll actually be done. So right now it'll be something like this. So when this guy actually registers the button click, so we can also add a button right here. I know this gets kind of complex, but I just want to give you guys a small idea about what's going to happen. Let's just add this button. There we go. So now when I click this button, I'm going to send a signal up here, change something in Firebase. Now this guy will listen for that event and he'll start the light, right? That could be one way to use the Pi. And now you have multiple pies, meaning you could set a pie up here in the ceiling, and you have another pie set up that has a button that I can press where I want in the room, right? So that's kind of how the Raspberry Pi will work. So that's the idea. And again, we're going to start up here. We're going to start with this part up here, just focusing on the Angular part and the Firebase part. And then later we'll start diving into the other areas down here. So that's it for this lesson. Now you guys have an overview about what I'll do. And I kind of just want to end this series right here. I know it was just a basic thing, but this is going to be season 1 of my series, just explaining what I want to build. And then we will continue and expand on this in the next series, but I'll kind of change them again to give you guys an easy way to pick what you wanna watch. So that's it, and I'll see you next time in season 2, where we'll start working with the Angular Firebase part. See you next time, have fun.